Have you ever wanted to start a business? Perhaps you've dreamed of building an app or some new technology, or starting a fashion line that has a devout and loyal following, or opening a coffee shop that you could call all your own. Starting a business is hard. It requires a lot of time, requires a lot of effort, and sometimes it can require considerable amounts of money too. And in fact, success is not certain in the end. In more cases than not, success is not likely. Starting and running a successful business is a multidimensional problem. However, picking the right idea from the beginning can vastly change the trajectory of where you end up after 10 years of working on the business. Let's take the idea of starting the third coffee shop on a street that is well served by 2 existing coffee shops. You are asking customers of the existing coffee shops to change their habits. In the meanwhile, those existing coffee shops will have already optimized their prices for what the people who frequent the street are willing to bear, as well as the range of cakes and coffees that they offer so that it appeals to those people. Starting the third coffee shop on a street can be an uphill battle. This is a battle that you can only win if you are sure the existing players in the space have not already optimized their businesses for the people who frequent that street. In 10 years' time, you may be disappointed with where you end up. So, how do you distinguish the best ideas versus the mediocre ones? There are many factors that affect the quality of the idea, such as how appropriate it is for the team going after it and the fit with the current market conditions. However, perhaps the question that helps develop the best business ideas is, what's possible now that wasn't possible before? What's possible now that wasn't possible before? Thinking deeply about this simple question has the ability to help us understand which industries can be totally obliterated and where breakthrough products and services can be built. I'm not another random voice on the internet. I'm Dino Gane-Palmer. In 2010, I started a company called Prescouter. In the time since starting Prescouter, I've been fortunate enough to see the company grow to several $1 million in revenue and be recognized as an Inc. 5000 company. Prescouter has also worked with over 500 of the best known companies in the world. In the beginning, I thought what we at Prescouter were helping these clients with was technology intelligence, i.e. providing information on new technologies. Over time, I've come to realize that what we've been doing for them is helping them understand what's possible now that wasn't possible before because of technology. These big companies understand that the answers to the question, what's possible now that wasn't possible before, the answers to this question create opportunities for budding entrepreneurs, opportunities that are also threats to existing businesses. These big companies understand that the answers to this question is the difference between whether they can adapt and continue to thrive or whether they disappear into the history books. I want to show you why this question is so important for distinguishing the best opportunities. But in order to do so, I need to start at the beginning. Humans are hardwired with certain needs. These needs include the need to eat, the need for shelter and safety, as well as the need to belong to a community. When these needs are not properly fulfilled, we scramble and break down. When these needs are fulfilled, we are able to function well. These human needs are needs that have always existed and will always exist in future. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one attempt to codify these hardwired human needs. What changes over time, however, is how we go about satisfying these needs through the products and services that we use. All products and services are created to serve human needs. Some of these serve human needs in a very direct and obvious way, such as a restaurant, which serves the human need to eat. Other products and services serve human needs in an indirect way, such as cars. Cars do not directly provide food, shelter, or community, but they make it much easier to access those things by helping us quickly travel the distance to get to food, shelter, or community. Let's take one of these needs, the need to eat, as an example. As humans, we do best when we have access to sufficient macro and micronutrients. We need protein, for example, to grow and heal our bodies. In prehistoric times, you can imagine that humans obtained this protein through hunting and eating animals. In the modern day, we are now able to obtain the protein we need by simply visiting a grocery store or going to a restaurant. The modern day restaurant is made possible by a vast and complex network of businesses that formed behind the restaurant. These supportive businesses ultimately make it easier to fulfill the need to eat at ever higher quality, lower cost, and greater convenience. Humans have always needed to eat, and we have always needed particular amounts of proteins to grow and heal our bodies. However, how we have satisfied that need is what has changed over time. Those changes in how we have satisfied that need came about through entrepreneurs who noticed that something was possible now that wasn't possible before. Each change in how we meet our need to eat and the need for protein was made possible by someone, an entrepreneur, who realized that something was possible now that wasn't possible before. The entrepreneur noticed change. These changes made it possible to create something that did not exist before, something that made it possible to get that protein in an easier or better way. You can imagine that several millennia ago, our ancestors, in order to serve their need for protein, had to find some grassland where they could go hunt for wild animals. Once among the grassland, they may have had spears at the ready and waited hours among the trees for a herd of wild cows to go past, to attack just at the right time. It may have taken a frantic chase and a struggle to finally pin down a cow and capture it. Once it was captured, they would travel with it back to the camp. At the camp, the cow would need to be skinned, cut, and prepared for cooking. It probably took all day to hunt and capture a cow for that evening's meal and get the protein our ancestors needed. In time, you can imagine that our ancestors started living together in tribes. When this happened, the more entrepreneurial in the community would have realized that some things were possible now that were not possible before. Specifically, specialization. If I have gone out to hunt for one cow, the additional effort required to hunt for a second cow is not that much more. I am already in the grassland, and I am already waiting for a herd of wild cows. While I'm out hunting for a cow for myself, I can also hunt for some additional cows for other members of my community. By focusing on hunting for cows for myself and others in the community, it becomes possible for other members in the community to specialize in different activities, such as making weapons, growing vegetables, and collecting and cutting wood log fires. As someone who has specialized in hunting for cows, I can trade the additional cows that I've captured for other goods. In time, all the people in the community with these different specializations come together in a physical marketplace or a market to trade these goods. By trading goods, they are able to get access to different goods faster and more easily than if they were able to try and originate each individual item themselves. The emergence of these communities, tribes, made something possible that was not possible before, i.e., specialization. The emergence of communities allowed for a whole slew of entrepreneurial activities to emerge, such as people who specialized in making weapons, growing vegetables, and collecting and cutting wood-fire logs. Each of these was an entrepreneurial activity that became possible for someone to go after to serve other people with the same need, which is what we call a market, i.e. people with the same need. These entrepreneurial activities enhance the quality of life for everyone else in the community by providing an easier or better way to satisfy their individual needs. As tribes became villages, which became towns and cities, more and more entrepreneurial opportunities became possible that were not possible before. When there are only 10 people in a village who are hunters, making a living from crafting hunting weapons may not be possible. The weapons may not break often enough for there to be a need to keep creating and selling them. However, when the village has 100,000 people who are hunters, there's almost certainly a need to have at least one person who can provide new weapons for all the hunters whose weapons are breaking each day. Over time, this weapons maker becomes faster and better at building weapons than hunters doing it themselves. So it is logical for the hunters to have this activity, which is not really core to what they do on a day-to-day basis, to have this activity done by someone else. What weapon makers do is not directly serving the need to eat, but doing so indirectly by serving the hunters who serve that need. In time, as the communities increased in size and the connectedness of the world increased, more and more entrepreneurial opportunities arose. Just as the weapons maker made the hunters more efficient, each of these new businesses made the businesses they supported more efficient. In time, we end up with complex networks of businesses, all ultimately working to serve human needs, such as the need to eat. Beyond what is made possible because of the changes in market needs, the next big force of change is changes in societal norms and culture. These are sometimes enforced as laws. Perhaps there is no bigger social norm than money. Money is an intangible social construct, a symbolic IOU. But the invention of money was a change, and again, that created opportunity for the entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs would have asked themselves, what's possible now with the invention of money that wasn't possible before? What money made possible was allowing people to trade outside of a physical marketplace. The marketplace no longer had to be bound to a specific location at specific times when it was open. Money allowed the marketplace to be ever present in any location. The entrepreneurs in the community again used the new possibilities created by money to create products and services that would be valuable for the wider community. For example, entrepreneurs could now open restaurants that were open in the evening when the marketplace would be closed. Entrepreneurs providing restaurants further improved the convenience of the basic human need to eat by taking care of all the tasks required to have a meal. Changes in societal norms and constructs provide another opportunity to ask, what's possible now that wasn't possible before? But perhaps the greatest force of change that makes possible what was not possible before is technology. In prehistoric times, a cow that was killed that day had to be eaten that day. Otherwise, it may rot and cause illness among those who consumed it. Over time, advances in technology have meant, first of all, roads, horse-driven carts, and now automobiles have made it faster to take the cow meat from the point of origin to the end customer. This has made it possible for that cow meat to be sourced from far places, such as slaughterhouses specifically designed to raise cows for human consumption. Secondly, refrigeration technology as well as preservation methods have increased the amount of time that the cow meat can stay good for. This means we don't have to go to the market every day. we can just go grocery shopping on weekends. It also means restaurants can now keep more stock and are less likely to run out of ingredients. Lastly, compared to the days of starting a fire with 2 sticks by a campfire, cooking appliances have made it far quicker to prepare food. Every technological change creates opportunities for entrepreneurs to figure out ways in which a new product or service can be created to serve human needs in a more convenient, higher quality, or cheaper way. We see that over time, changes in how we organize ourselves, from tribes to villages to cities, created specialization and market needs. This, combined with changes in social norms, such as the creation of money and the emergence of new technologies, have all created the vast complex network of businesses, supply chains, that exist to ultimately serve our human needs. But this also means that changes in the needs of people, i.e. markets, as well as changes in societal norms, as well as the emergence of new technologies, all create the possibility of disrupting current complex networks of businesses, and in doing so, create opportunities for entrepreneurs. Every day, you, like me, may go to a local eatery to get a sandwich or something else for lunch. The restaurants and cafes that provide food for lunch sit at the edge of a complex network of businesses that have made it possible for you to have lunch every day. An emerging technology is 3D printed food. Companies have been experimenting with 3D printing chocolate roses, for example. What happens if suddenly one day, in the same way that everyone has a computer on their desk, everyone has a 3D printer that prints food? Suddenly, the vast network of businesses that support lunchtime restaurants become no longer necessary. Suddenly, there is also an opportunity for entrepreneurs to create a new network of businesses around the change of 3D food printers sitting on every desk. Perhaps it's a mail order business that provides weekly supplies of the ink used by these 3D food printers. Or perhaps it is a repair business that services broken 3D food printers. Whether you have a business yourself, work for one, or are thinking of starting a business in future, I encourage you to think about the changes that are occurring in market needs, as well as through societal norms and laws, and the emergence of new technologies. I encourage you to ask, what is possible now that was not possible before? What are the changes that make it possible to improve convenience, increase quality, or reduce costs? These are opportunities to create businesses that were not possible before. These are businesses that can obliterate existing industries. What's possible now that wasn't possible before?